Hello? Testing.
GM, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm really good. Sorry about this. It seems like the initial link is broken for some reason, so I had to create a new link.
All good. This is our first spaces as well, so it's all new to us.
You'll see. If you're lucky, they hold up for the whole spaces, but they tend to be a little finicky. But all in all, it's really an amazing platform. I think a lot of the crypto Twitter hangs out on these spaces. It's a great way of connecting with the community, kind of like a live podcast format. So it's a great medium, but it tends to be, sometimes a little shaky. Elon fired maybe a little too many people. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for inviting us. Yeah, well, hopefully this holds up. We got a good crowd too.
Yeah, we'll give people about 3 minutes. It just started like 2 minutes ago. Uh, we'll take a little bit of time to join, and we'll see some more people joining in. Who do I have the pleasure to speak to?
Hey, my name is Jeff. I don't think I caught your name either.
Yeah, I'm Zerker, or you can call me. I guess my real name is Alex if we're on the first name basis here.
Well, I don't have a screen name. I like Zerker.
Nice. Yeah, I
Hey,
like
this is
Zerker too. It sounds nice.
a lot of reacts coming in. It's pretty neat.
I think it's the first time they hear my first name. Actually, I don't know. Kind of impressed. Hey, Zuli, how you doing?
You guys doing all right? Yeah, you just doxed yourself and everyone's freaking out.
He told me his name is Jack. I'm not gonna tell him my name is Zerker. That would be a lie.
It's Jeff, but maybe Jack
Oh,
could be my
Jeff.
fake
Oh,
name.
sorry, I
All
misheard.
good.
Blame Elon for the bad audio or something.
Yeah, seriously.
I will. I will.
Cool. Do we want to give people a minute? Do we want to
Yeah, and
mention
let me
the
tweet it. Let
giveaway?
me tweet it too, and I'll mention the giveaway in the title as well. We don't. I want people to be here because they want to learn about Hyperliquid. I think a lot of our community members participated in the trading competition that you guys had before the holidays. I got
Yeah.
liquidated on day two. I think most of the community members got liquidated on day two, which was really fun.
Yeah.
Um,
That was right in line with your brand, right? So, um, getting wrecked as quickly as possible.
we
Almost in the
it
Discord.
was basically we wanted to go all in because none of us have any skills in trading, so just gamble, right? And I think I was in the top 10, and a few other friends were like really doing well after the first day because their leverage, we used max leverage, and it played out well. But the second day didn't, and it was done.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta just take your chips off the table. But I think that's totally the right approach to a trading competition, right? It's like you don't get anything for being in like 30th place, so it's all in.
Yeah, definitely right about that. Let me just do one last tweet, and Zuli, we'll get started afterwards, okay?
Yeah, all cool. Actually, Jeff, can you maybe give us some data on how many people got liquidated? Because I think it was like you guys were having a lot of fun with how fast people got liquidated on that first competition, and then also just how many people ended up getting liquidated.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number, but certainly by the end, it was like more than half the people were liquidated out of the 200 or so participants. I think at the very end, people just kind of put the pedal to the metal, and last 10 minutes had crazy activity, and actually the top 10 like, switched around a lot as people were like trying to out trade each other for the number one spot. But even at the beginning, yeah, liquidation. We had a little like sound effect every time someone got liquidated, and it was kind of like going at a steady clip until the end, and it was like just like ripping.
So like you guys had a sound effect in the office, just letting you know people were getting liquidated.
Yeah, we had a Slack notification, so we hooked it up to so we could just see every time something important happened.
That's fun. That's
Yeah.
fun. Wow, like half of the participants getting liquidated is huge though.
Yeah, really stress testing our liquidation engine. Not exactly the thing we thought we were stress testing, but I guess good to know that it worked.
Cool stuff. Yeah, I'll just wait for Zerker a bit, and then we can get started a bit more with introing everything and letting people know what's up.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I hope that tweet came out correct. And let us get started. Okay. Oh yes, it did. Okay, it's good. Thanks. We'll do the giveaway at the end. That's usually how these things work. Or we'll do it in the middle. You don't know. Got to keep the people on their toes. But yeah, thank you so much. So I'm Zerker from Rekt Gang, and we also have Xulian with us, who's a DeFi lead with Rekt Gang. Also an awesome YouTuber and contributor to the Burbs Nest. So very knowledgeable in the DeFi space. And today we have the pleasure of welcoming Jeff, who works at Hyperliquid. Uh, some of you already know that they're building out a DEX and have participated in the trading competition. But I think what's most exciting is all the innovation that you guys are bringing to the DEX, I guess, meta right now. So go ahead, Jeff.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in and listening to us. This is our first Spaces, so we're super excited to kind of, get our name out there, kind of like tell you guys what we're all working on, and also thank you guys for participating in the competition. You guys actually represented a pretty big fraction of our like participants overall, so it was super cool to see you guys using the platform and kind of having fun with it. Yeah, and I guess I can give a quick intro for myself and the protocol, and then we can, I guess, do some like free form Q&A. Does that sound good?
Yeah, so usually, give us a little bit of background about yourself and then maybe talk to me about why you guys decided to launch Hyperliquid. What was kind of the mission and vision behind creating this platform?
Sounds great. Yeah. So for myself, my name is Jeff. I'm the founder of Hyperliquid. My background is pretty unique in the building space, I think. So I'm an engineer, and we're a bunch of engineers by trade, and we kind of got started out in crypto just by playing around with the markets. Writing some simple bots and seeing if we could kind of provide liquidity in this, as you all know, drastically like inefficient marketplace. So we were looking at order books on centralized exchanges, and pretty quickly got some traction doing kind of market making style trading. So we were fully anonymous, just kind of heads down building the tech. Really interesting problems to solve there. And from CeFi, or I guess centralized exchanges, we kind of started dabbling in DeFi, looking into, is there something we can bring from our knowledge of order books and centralized exchange trading to the world of DeFi, which has a lot of buzz and hype, at least last year. And we found that it was like even more inefficient than the centralized side. And so while that's like pretty nice for trading because inefficiencies mean kind of opportunities, we quickly realized that the space was like in a really interesting spot where like the vision was so cool. Like we were so bought into it right after like hooking up our MetaMask and making our first trades. We saw the potential, and we were kind of late to the party, but like from our perspective, it was mind blowing. But on the other hand, the tech was just so behind the counterparts. We were surprised that anyone actually used it. There's so much friction to like doing anything, which you kind of take for granted with centralized exchanges. So we kind of took this big leap, like kind of a pivot, if you will. Like we're pretty used to being like anonymous under the cover, like out of the limelight, just kind of doing our thing. But we decided we're gonna build something in this space because there's so much potential and there's so much need for a platform that actually lets people trade with the user experience and fees and execution that they want.
So let me stop you here. Very interesting. So you guys are very heavy, I guess, in the trading space, but pretty new to the crypto space. Would that be a correct assessment? And what was kind of the motivation of doing the jump into the crypto? So you said like you were really agreeing or in line with the vision, and what is that for you?
Yeah, so we've always been fully crypto native, but I think your assessment's right that we were kind of later to the DeFi, like fully decentralized, kind of cutting edge of crypto technology. We were always just on the centralized exchanges where it's a simple API, kind of basically Web 2 tech problems to solve. We've always been kind of watching from the sideline and pretty interested. Like when you're trading on a centralized exchange, you got to wonder like what is this token I'm trading around? And so we were kind of trying to get knowledge about that. So we've kind of had our eyes on the space for this whole time. But yeah, pretty late to like dabbling and actually building and getting our hands dirty. And as for the vision that excites us, it's really I think the FTX implosion probably was the like last straw on the camel's back. The Just kind of seeing that firsthand and how much damage like one sort of or a couple like misaligned individuals can kind of cause a ripple effect of all this just like tragedy kind of throughout the whole space. So that really like that was the sort of defining moment, and we had already been building for a couple months then, but that was really the call to arms. Like, oh wow, like this thing we're building, we were kind of playing around with, actually has the potential to be the platform that kind of takes the place of these sort of trustless, like they're trusted, like sort of potentially malicious platforms that don't have the user's interests at heart, and fundamentally like require this degree of trust that just shouldn't be required.
Yeah, that makes total sense what you just said. I think we can all agree that uh, the recent collapses of several exchanges, FTX being one of the biggest ones, kind of shows us the value of having a decentralized type of exchange. However, that looks like is still unsure or unclear. But after that FTX collapse, I remember, Xuli, correct me if I'm wrong, but many of these DEX tokens started pumping, like GMX and so on, right? So, kind of, I think everybody agrees with you here that that's the future of crypto trading.
Yeah, totally. And our only regret is we didn't start this earlier. But better late than never, and it kind of gives us a nice tailwind to really push through and kind of build what we think is the best solution. And hopefully all our users agree.
Yeah, well, let's get to it, right? Like, let's dive into Hyperliquid. You guys are probably already familiar with the solutions that exist in the crypto space. I mean, the decentralized options. So, what would you say you guys are aiming to do different, and how are you guys aiming to differentiate from these other solutions that are already live, basically?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's actually the question we asked ourselves first when building this platform. So we've kind of been through all the like sort of proposed solutions that the people have implemented out there in DeFi, and it's a really interesting problem space. So we really came at it with the approach of we kind of know what people want, low latency, high liquidity, low slippage, these kinds of things that everybody talks about. But we kind of approach it like what. So given that these are things that people want, like how could we design a market around that? And so we weren't actually fixated on order books or AMMs or any specific solution. It was really the problems. And so we naturally started with kind of the history of how DeFi evolved. And so looking at AMMs first. And I guess there have been a lot of research articles recently about kind of how LPs maybe aren't in the best position, at least on existing platforms today. And we've kind of always believed this. So it's as traders, it's inherently obvious. Like maybe if you just provide some liquidity to Uniswap and do this at a large scale, it's pretty easy to see that you're kind of just getting arbitraged back and forth by these kind of like other players in the space, and the whole model isn't really sustainable. I think during a bull market, it's fine with the yield farming, and then all's pretty fun. But when all those incentives dry up, it's not really sustainable. And so I should have had a link to one of those articles, but there have been a few on Twitter that have gained a lot of traction recently. So definitely worth reading about that. That being said, like AMMs are pretty interesting because they really toe the line on the like optimizing for having something that works when gas is so high and computation is so expensive. And so it's not to say that there's no value there. Like they really bootstrap a lot of liquidity there, and that's quite impressive. And then we kind of moved on to more hybrid approaches that are popular today. So GMX is obviously the most famous one, and there are countless clones of that. And we played around with those. They're hybrid in that like the computation is still pretty straightforward, and you can do it through a smart contract. But then there's this like trusted Oracle component that aims to solve this, like I guess what Uniswap calls impermanent loss, but really is just LPs losing money. And while it's pretty ingenious, but there are kind of two drawbacks. One is, as we saw with the sort of exploits, price manipulation, and like Oracle attacks, it's not actually a foolproof design. Like it requires a lot of like fine tuning and kind of arbitrary rules to make sure that bad actors don't exploit the protocol. And on the other hand, it's also quite centralized, so it doesn't actually fulfill the full mission of DeFi, which is like a permissionless protocol that anybody can trade on that nobody controls. So it's like we view it as kind of like a band-aid solution in between what we're building and the old like AMM style. And again, I think it's like quite innovative. I don't mean to like say these things provide no value. They're quite ingenious ideas, and clearly people get a lot of value from them and use them. And yeah, so we just want to set out, like, since we're building something from scratch and we know the pain points, like we want to really like build something sustainable long term that has the potential to be like the ultimate solution. And so that kind of like we kind of went full circle and gravitated back towards order books, which is what TradFi and centralized exchanges all use. And no matter what we looked at, we kind of like always went back to this. Like order books really just do it so much better. And so we kind of took a step back and just said, like, why don't we just put in the hard work and design the infrastructure to be able to support order books? Like order books are what people are most used to, and for good reason, right? Like users can see exactly the liquidity they're going to get before they trade. It's cheap. The spreads are super tight. People can quote a lot of liquidity. Like people are used to doing that. And the latency is low. There are no weird edge cases, no exploits like that. Yeah, so that's kind of like how we arrived at what we're building, which is like an infrastructure from the ground up built to support a fully decentralized order book solution.
All right, that sounds cool. So you guys are, I'm not the DeFi expert here, so Xuli can always back me up. I'm familiar, with the classic ones. Is your order book using some sort of different model than I guess the standard order books that we have? I know there are order books, and I know some people are going with synthetic pairs now, like Gains Network, or there's different kind of ideas to merge the two. So how does your order book basically differentiates from the standard order book? Again, kind of like a similar question, but asked in a different way.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I guess the key is that I think the key point is that a lot of people talk about order books, but really it's quite hard to run a performant order book like fully on chain. And so I think DYDX is the best example here. So they're a decentralized platform, and they claim to have an order book solution. I'm talking like the current live version, not whatever they're building right now. The thing that people use right now though is the order book component is actually just run like a centralized exchange. And the reason is not that they like want to steal the funds or something. It's like it's just that is what you have to do with the tech that exists today. And so they kind of straddle this fine line between like DeFi and CeFi. And I think a lot of sort of clones of DYDX kind of do a similar thing. And so you can kind of frame it as like trustless, like decentralized matching, like position management, margining, and maybe order matching on usually an ETH L2, but maybe some other network. But then the order book component where orders, placements, and cancels, like that all happens on one server. And the key thing here is like that account, that server needs to have like privileged access to the L2 on which the settlement is happening. And this is just, if you actually unpack how the tech that's going on here, this is like just not decentralized. And so I think a key differentiator of our order book with against most of these is just that the whole order book actually runs on chain. So you could inspect like what's going on the blockchain, which is built on Tendermint, and you can see every single action that any user took. Like if I place an order, cancel an order, like get liquidated, transfer funds, like all of these things happen like actually on the blockchain. And so there's no one computer out there which, if that computer were shut down, then the whole thing would stop. Like it actually is decentralized.
Very cool. Yeah, that sounds super exciting and totally different than what already has been built out. I guess I love it. And you mentioned Tendermint. We are in the Cosmos as well. Very familiar with Tendermint. But I remember that the trading competition happened on an ETH testnet. So basically, how is this going to work? It seemed I didn't really understand how you guys will be using some of these blockchain tech pieces to build out, your platform.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So during the competition, we were sort of focusing mainly on the UI, like iterating on what traders want, because I think especially in DeFi, there's a focus on the tech, but not on the actual user experience for the end user. Makes sense, early days, but we want to build something that people want to use. So that was like our main focus. So we were just trying to like, make the experience as good as possible and hide what's actually going on from the user. Focusing more on like how do I drag and drop my TPSLs on the trading chart to modify the orders, and less like how are the orders actually matched. But you are right. Like during the competition, we were building on Arbitrum, and at that point, we thought that would be what we build on. We were thinking like maybe a hybrid model of like kind of like what DIDX is doing, or maybe just not even using order books, but using like batch auctions or something on Arbitrum. Those are all kind of like in play. But after the competition, we kind of took 3 weeks to really sit back and evaluate the like infrastructure side, and that's when we arrived at this kind of like current model of building it from scratch on Tendermint, from the ground up, basically. Like, given the UX that we want, what kind of infrastructure do we need to support that? And so this was actually a relatively recent evolution, but we've been hard at work, and the L1 testnet is up and running, and I think it's gone past like a simple proof of concept, and we're really happy with how the current iteration of the tech works, and has the potential to both scale towards all the users that we want, and also decentralize towards like the final vision of what we want to build.
Yeah. So basically, you guys are looking to create Hyperliquid chain. Is that correct? And that's where the DApp will run.
Yes. So the chain will handle the whole DEX basically, but we want to do as little of the stack as possible. It's like if there were a performant L2 that can handle 100,000 orders per second, then we would totally just be all over that and jump on board. But given that we can't, yes, we're building the Hyperliquid chain to be able to support the exchange. However, we are looking into making the chain itself just a component of this kind of omni-chain application. So we don't want to be the chain that people hold their funds on, that people do arbitrary smart contract interactions on. Like, I think that's like a really big project to build, and like it's just not our focus. We want to make the DEX that is the most performant and user friendly and cheap to use with the best liquidity, and that's it. And so we're looking into bridging solutions. We're kind of in early explorations here. So on the testnet, we have our own prototype bridge from Arbitrum to the Hyperliquid chain. But ultimately, we do want to partner with some protocol that provides an omni-chain interface, so that wherever your funds are, you can use them as collateral on our exchange, do your trading on our exchange, like have the best user experience possible, and then have your funds back onto whatever home chain you desire.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of a different approach from what we're used to, I believe. So basically, as a user, suppose I have some ETH on Arbitrum, I can then um, go in the Hyperliquid DEX and then, I don't know, do something with it, sell it, right? For instance. And the back end of that transaction is going through the Hyperliquid chain, and then I get my funds back on Arbitrum, right? Is that kind of how it would work?
Right. So what you described is a pretty good model for like a spot exchange. So right now we're focusing on derivatives, so it's pretty similar, but a little different in that. So what it would probably look like is like you have USDC on Arbitrum, you bridge it over, which is trustless through some omni-chain bridging solution, and then it ends up on the Hyperliquid chain. You use it as margin for, let's say, like long ETH. You'd ride that up a bit, close it out. Now you have your P&L. You have more USDC than you began with, and then you go back through the trustless bridging solution off the Hyperliquid chain, back onto Arbitrum, or whatever chain you want. And so, like, while it's on the Hyperliquid chain, it should have the same functionality. It's just like it's like a mirrored asset, I guess. But that's really not our focus. Like, we don't really like. We're not trying to build like fancy wallets or anything like that. It really is just like when the collateral is there and you're trading, the positions and margining are on the Hyperliquid chain. It's meant to just be like a professional, really good like trading experience. It's just like really good.
Okay, cool. And I guess then the question is, the Hyperliquid chain, is that going to be managed by you guys, or will that have like a validator set? How do you guys foresee? Will there be governance? Like, because you guys are building out a new chain, or you're just using it as a means to an end to handle some of these transactions that are going to pass through the DEX?
So it is a standalone chain. So from a technical perspective, it is a Tendermint chain, just like any other. For example, like anything built on Cosmos, like Luna, etc. Like it's the same underpinning technology. It is sort of a means to an end, but also it is, I guess, like given that we're building it, it is being built as a fully decentralized chain. So there will be a token that through which people delegate, and I guess the consensus will happen through proof of stake, and so I guess there will also be a validator set. Right now on the testnet, we're running nodes because it's in rapid development, and we'd like to be able to just iterate on the technology as quickly as possible. But ultimately, after the mainnet launch, there'll have to be a validator set. We've looked a little bit into having solutions where we can kind of share another network security. I think these are kind of like open research problems, and we see a lot of like promising developments on those fronts. But ultimately, we kind of have to run it like however like the Cosmos chains are run usually. So that there's always a trade-off. Like how do you decentralize? How do you pick your validators? How do you sort of like incentivize the ecosystem and community? And those are all things that that are on the roadmap and looking into like as we approach the mainnet launch.
Okay, yeah. Understand this concept. I don't know if I guess I'll have to do the parallel here, or Xuli. I don't know if you're online and you want to ask a question as well, but it's very reminiscent of I don't know if you heard Kujira, which is an order book running on. They have their own chain, and but they don't. I think their vision is slightly different. You guys are really trying to use the chain to process the transaction, and kind of the front end for the people will be on a chain that they already know, something like Arbitrum or maybe Ethereum, Polygon, whatever, right? Like one of these popular EVMs. Um, so compared to them, where I think they want people to bridge on the chain, and that's where they hold their funds most of the time. So I think there's that difference there. Xuli, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, sure. I'll talk on the differences a bit. So Kujira is a full like semi-permissioned chain, and they're like also building out other apps and like other things that you can build. It's semi-permissioned because anyone can technically build there. You just need to get like a governance vote to actually publish your code on chain. But like anyone can build on Kujira. I think Hyperliquid, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, it's just going to be focused on the DEX itself. The DEX is going to have many features that maybe Jeff wants to leak in a few minutes. I won't do that. But like the DEX can have like many different ways of actually interacting with it. But it's highly focused on the DEX itself and having just like really fast transactions. I guess a better comparison would maybe be something like Injective or another like DEX that has spent 2 years in development and hasn't done anything, but that's kind of the promise of just having fast transactions and order books. Hyperliquid guys just kind of looked and then built it in a couple months, so I do have to like give them a lot of credit for that. So yeah, I guess Kujira, you're actually transferring funds, you're actually using different apps. And if anyone used the testnet on Hyperliquid, once you like deposit funds, there's no more transactions you have to approve for trading. So you can do a bunch of different interactions with the DEX, and you don't have to be like constantly approving on your MetaMask or Kepler wallet or whatever wallet you're using to actually approve all these transactions, which is arguably a bit of a pain if you're trading, especially if you're doing like high frequency trading, or if you're approving, like you want to set up a bunch of stop losses or take profits or whatever, and you have to approve like 20 transactions. It becomes a huge pain. So like Hyperliquid, once you're connected, you got your funds on the platform, it's like it just feels like you're trading on Binance. You don't have to be constantly approving transactions. So that's kind of the bigger difference. I guess, yeah, I don't know if Jeff, you want to add to that or kind of change.
Yeah, that's a really good description. Yeah, thanks, Julian. Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with your comparison with Kujira. I think there are a lot of platforms out there which kind of talk about DEXs, like the next generation of DEXs, but really what they're trying to build is a platform for other people to build DEXs on. I think Say Network is another good example for that. And I think that's a really cool vision too. It's not quite what we're doing. Basically, for it feels like the trade-off is like you can kind of invest in the future of crypto, right? Like if you think crypto is going to be really big in 10 years, then yeah, what you want to be building is kind of like the AWS or the Google of crypto, which is like base layer infrastructure. And Ethereum has like done super good job on there, and Solana, and there's some other like really good projects in that space. And so people kind of are like inching towards like building a product, but like still mostly in the camp of like building infrastructure. And we kind of just took it all the way and said like, let's just build the infrastructure and the app and everything as like one unified protocol. And so yeah, like nobody's gonna build like a game, like a DeFi game on top of the Hyperliquid network. That's just like not something that we're like investing in at all. Like we're kind of sacrificing this like generality, this like developer ecosystem in place of like just a protocol that works super well, that does this thing that we know is really important and like sorely needed in the space, which is like a really performant DEX that people can use, and not really like build something else on that will be the killer app. But so that being said, though, I think Julian hinted at like there will be interesting ways to interact with the Hyperliquid chain, and I don't want to tease too much here since it's still a work in progress, but coming soon. I think there are a lot of like the appealing nature of the like DEX chain style projects is sort of like these pools or vaults or different ways that maybe you can passively earn income, or like through some automated strategy that's on chain. So these ideas are all like really interesting to us, and so we're kind of working on a concept around this that will kind of let people kind of gain exposure to all these like interesting ideas without actually being like without having to like build another app on top of the Hyperliquid chain. So there'll be kind of a like native pool system basically, and it'll be very powerful, but also like simple. And so we're still kind of working on the UI and ironing out the details there, but it'll come soon to the testnet. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Nice. Zuli alluded to this. Some people promise a lot of things and then it takes them a really long time to build it out. How big is your team? I've played with the Testnet, and I've played, in the trading comp, and everything was working super quickly, and you guys seem to be evolving very fast. Things are being shipped out. Wondering, how big is your team? Are you guys professional shippers, basically?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we're pretty low profile. We mainly focus on building, but yeah, we're six on the kind of full time side. So pretty small. Yeah, and Julian's also like helped a lot. And I guess so maybe I should count him in. But yeah, we have a lot of, we're very fortunate to have like friends in the space who are kind of bullish and have really like inspire us. So yeah, appreciate all the kind words too.
Nice. Yeah. I like when people ship things. It's good. And we'll be looking out for the test net. So Xulian alluded to some new cool features that you guys are going to be launching. Can you spill a little bit of alpha on what we'll be able to do on the newest iteration?
Yeah, I can do that. So the things I'm going to say right now are not things that are currently publicly available. So take it with a grain of salt. But this is kind of on the roadmap. And when I say roadmap, I don't mean like a quarter. I mean like hopefully like a week or two. So coming soon to theaters near you.
Jeff, I think your roadmap is very different from other people. Like you say you don't want to confirm things that are like 2 weeks away when there's projects that are shilling things that are like 3 years out.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're bear market vibes. Under promise, over deliver. But yeah, I guess going back to the features, maybe like maybe an interesting kind of like thought experiment or retrospective on like DeFi is I think there's like been this big theme around I think mainly like Uniswap I think did a super good advertising sort of public education, whatever you want to call it, with the pools. It's like, oh yeah, here's this interesting like project or investment strategy or something. Like, let me just like provide some liquidity to that, whatever that may mean, right? Like in terms of like a Uniswap or SushiSwap pool, it means like literally putting some liquidity and letting people trade against it. But maybe in like Yearn, maybe it means more like I trust this kind of like active management strategy. Let me just like invest some capital there and hopefully profit from the yields. This whole idea has gained a lot of traction. It's really cool in DeFi because you kind of still retain the like fundamental control of the capital. So if the your vault kind of goes haywire, you can withdraw, I guess, whatever's left of your money. Or in Uniswap, if you notice the liquidity rewards aren't as good, but this other pool looks good, you can take your LP shares, redeem them for the underlying tokens, and then like cash out and go put your money in another pool. And this is kind of something you really can't do outside of crypto and DeFi. So we think it's like a really exciting opportunity. And this whole space of ideas, like there are different protocols all kind of doing the same thing. So what we're interested in building right now is a way to kind of like have a similar like community owned like these like strategies in a very very vague sense, but all powered by the Hyperliquid chain. So basically there's a lot of liquidity to interact with and like very low latency, and basically you have this like really fine control over the like price and the order book on our chain, and it's quite performant. And so it allows you to very naturally kind of like participate in these like strategies that on other chains might just be impossible. So for example, like on GMX, the liquidations go towards the stakers of the token. And an idea like that is really easy to implement on Hyperliquid through a pool. There would just be a pool running like a liquidation strategy. And so anyone can liquidate other users. It's fully decentralized, it's transparent. So that way the protocol doesn't eat the loss, and it's not like some special market maker gets to get all the liquidations. It's like fully transparent and out there, and anyone can do it. And the extreme of this example is like the liquidation pool can even do it. And so that way, like if somebody thinks, oh, the liquidations, there are too many like apes on our platform getting liquidated left and right, like let me like kind of provide liquidity to liquidating them. That's something you can do through this pool primitive. And it's a pretty simple primitive, but it's trustless, and it is fully flexible. So it's almost like you're programming something on the chain, but it's not quite, because it's not programming. It's like it is this like strategy pool concept. Does that make any sense?
I will let Xulian comment on this. I have to kind of play with it to fully understand it.
So
Yeah.
I guess for normies, or just for like people that don't
Yeah,
care to
for
like look,
normies, Xuli,
yeah,
for
I'll
normies,
break it down.
please.
So it's essentially, you see that someone is doing well, and you can either mimic them or you can participate in like communal actions. So whether that's like liquidations, but you don't actually want to be like managing it or like setting up what price you want to liquidate or whatever. It just, there's a bunch of automatic actions that you can kind of deposit into vaults, and it will execute on the DEX. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm saying too much, Jeff. You can just hop in.
No, all good. That's a great description. Yeah, it's kind of like a communal, like trustless. Like you still have control of your funds, but the actions maybe you just want to like kind of join in on what's on this like profitable set of actions that you see out there. So it's kind of like copy trading. If you guys have played around with that idea, I know there are a lot of projects working on that. But there are
I
some
like that. That seems something I can get behind, right? Like, or can you copy counter trade? Is that a thing too? Because I definitely have examples of people I'd like to counter trade.
Yeah, like the Jim
Reverse
Cramer
Kramer.
of crypto.
We need that. We need that.
Yeah. So it actually is. I think all of these ideas, like copy trading, copy counter trading, they all kind of fit into this pool idea. This is actually like much. It's not quite copy trading. I think it's kind of inspired by it, but like one good example is like something you can do with this pool primitive, which we're looking forward to sharing, is like a market making style pool. And so this like that's something you definitely cannot do on any copy trading platform, because market making is such a high turnover, like high frequency strategy that if you were to like literally copy all the trades, you would end up with a very different result. I can go into the details of that, but I think it's easy to imagine, right? Like you can't have a copy trading platform where there are just like millions of trades going through every second. Like that would just completely like destroy all the strategies. But that is something you can do with this like pool kind of like mirroring strategy setup. So it's, I guess you can think of it as like copy trading, but more powerful. It can do a lot, like a much bigger subset of the strategies you have in mind. And so yeah, if there's like a Jim Cramer on the platform, and you know you really want to counter trade them, I think like anybody can go out and create one of these like mirroring strategies that actually just do the opposite thing. I think it would just totally work within the like primitive that we're designing.
Yeah, we definitely could use a V. He's a community member counter trading pool. I think that would be very lucrative. But moving along with difficult questions, if that's good. And
Yeah.
speaking of pools, liquidity. I think, for order books, it's always the same question. How are you guys going to get the liquidity to make it seamless and to make it all work? Being, you know, knowing that there's already a few options out there that have a pretty important first mover advantage, I would say. So it's uphill battle to get that liquidity. So wondering, what are your thoughts and how are you guys planning to attract that capital?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that is often people's first questions. One of their first questions, and so this pool idea actually like segues nicely into this. Like I think this is like one of our big reasons for building this feature out so early, and I think Julian also like really was a proponent behind this. So thanks to him on that. The idea behind the pools, I think, is just that like we really want to build a platform where the liquidity is kind of like community managed as much as possible. So I think GMX did a super good job with this, right? Like when someone trades on GMX, they're literally trading against the liquidity that is community owned, that is staked behind the platform. And so kind of like taking inspiration from that. The difference being like, with an order book, the strategy is a little harder to kind of implement. But basically we're gonna start out with kind of example to show people like just the potential behind the system. Like have a pool, it does market making. You can kind of see exactly what it's doing, but it's built using this like pool primitive, and so people can invest in it. People can track the performance, and it'll be like fully transparent and community owned. And sort of like we hope that like by showcasing this and the power behind the protocol, people will be inspired and kind of like put out their own pools, or maybe just like market make on their own. But hopefully through the pools, and like basically like have a thriving ecosystem of liquidity that way. Yeah.
Zuli, you got any more?
Question.
Yeah, you got
Cool.
any more comments on this?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the big chicken and egg situation with most order book exchanges. I know like Hyperliquid guys have a lot of experience with market making, so it's like luckily they kind of have that to like get things started, and then as things grow out, you phase into like a more community situation. So it's not like controlled by one, but you can already start with like really nice spread overall from the get-go. Like we are working on a order book decks like roundtable spaces later, which like a lot of these questions are going to be great to kind of prod at everyone to see how people are going on about solving a lot of these problems in the space. I mean, if you looked at a lot of the like year 2023 forecasts and what a lot of investors are looking at, it's like everyone wants order books because AMMs aren't sustainable. Essentially, like you either have to have like really high incentives, or you're just losing money on impermanent loss. So market making is what's profitable, and that's why there's like so many big market makers on centralized exchanges. I mean, unless you're Alameda, but we don't have to go down that route. But yeah, like it's something a lot of market makers have been looking for, but it's just we're very early in the space. So yeah, that's kind of like where it's going on. Like as long as you have that first market maker to manage that spread, it's pretty easy to start getting that volume and then growing that out.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And so yeah, we try not to toot our horns too much on this front, but yeah, we kind of know what it is, the end to end of like what it's like to run a market making strategy that makes money. Where we never took investor money or anything, so we're not like Alameda. We don't have anybody else's money to lose 8 billion of. But we do know like humbly what it takes to kind of have some capital and quote large liquidity, kind of like with proper risk management, so that spreads are tight and average users can come on and trade with no problem. And so that is like, it's a hard problem, but it's a problem that we kind of know our way around. And so, especially given that like the order book setup is so similar between Hyperliquid and centralized exchanges, I think that's going to be a really strong driver for market makers just coming on and participating. And we're not super concerned. Like I know this is like a non-starter for a lot of projects, but like from our end, it's like we know how to do it. So we'll just like show how it's done, and through this pool mechanism, I think people will all be able to participate in the liquidity. Yeah.
So we'll just copy your guys' trades and make money. I like that.
Yep. Well, can't promise on the making money part, but we'll do our best.
Not financial advice.
Exactly.
All of it. Cool. Yeah. So sounds a lot of exciting new features, and I love how you guys planned it out from the base. up to kind of having these new features implemented. Wondering what are the timelines now? We played on the testnet, and when is this going to go live? Basically, when are people going to be able to make or lose money?
That's a great question. Basically, our current plan is we really want to give this like pool primitive some time in the sun, kind of like get the feedback there, like see if we can get people excited. So we're planning some kind of testnet activities around that. It is just like kind of, we think it's a really promising idea, and it's gonna at the same time feel familiar but also innovative. And so that's kind of our plan for January, along with the like usual, oh, here's a testnet, like please try to break it, and like please like expose any bugs before we launch. So that's kind of like our goal for January. And then looking forward, I think we're looking into a kind of closed alpha mainnet to start. We want to be pretty cautious on this front. So currently targeting February, maybe March if things come up, but targeting February. And for the closed alpha, it'll basically be invite only, kind of rewarding participants who play around with the testnet and help us out there. But the goal there is just like small size. It's real money, but like maybe understand the risks are a little bit higher. On the flip side, like incentivized. From there, I think we haven't thought too much further, but presuming that goes well, then the mainnet launch will come after that.
Okay, good. So coming up pretty quickly, I guess where are the people I'm always going to have to shill you, and where can people learn more about Hyperliquid? I know you guys have the Discord and the Twitter page. Is that the best places to learn about you? And are you guys planning to do more Twitter Spaces as well? I know this is kind of the first one to get things going, but will there be more? What's kind of the plan on raising awareness? Or again, we like to use the word chilling, but but people learning more about Hyperliquid.
Yeah, super important. It's kind of, we've been pretty light on the marketing because we've just been building, but I think it is coming up. And you're right, like it's super important. And so yeah, thanks again to you guys for tuning in and listening, and to Rekt Gang for hosting. We hope to do more of these. We'd love to like meet more people in the space and see who we can partner with, and find users who would love to use our product. So like you said, the Twitter and Discord are definitely our two main public profiles right now, and give us a follow and a like if you haven't already. And like join our Discord. I think it's a small budding community, but we're all pretty friendly and have good fun there. I think that's about it for now in terms of shilling us.
Nice. I know that Xuli is actually Xuli. You have an initiative as well, right?
Not sure what initiative, but I'll also show the Notion, the new docs, because we worked on that pretty hard. So
yes.
Like that should be linked in the Twitter if you guys want to read more on that.
Oh, very nice. And I meant on having maybe some more spaces with different dexes that exist in the crypto sphere.
Right. Yeah, thanks. So working on doing collaborative spaces with two other order book exchanges. So probably next week it's going to be Kujira, another one from Cosmos, and then Hubble Exchange that's on Avalanche, and they're actually moving from Avalanche mainnet to their own subnet because order book exchanges need their own subnets type situation. So working on setting that up. We'll be inviting a couple more exchanges. So I'm reaching out to DYDX and Say and a couple other ones. Just because I don't know, I believe that the real and only competition is Binance in terms of like exchanges and perps and trading. And just most of DeFi should just be collaborating and kind of sharing, being friendly, and so on. So we're gonna start with those roundtables. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
I mean, Jeff could attend these, right, as well. I'm kind of plugging him in without your consent, but I
Oh no,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah, they're definitely part of it already.
okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Hyperliquid and everyone else.
Yeah, we're super excited to participate and kind of like meet the people in the space and yeah, like Julian said, the pie is so big and really it's like Binance has like 99.9% of the pie, I think. So yeah, I think there's like really good conversations and hopefully we can all kind of like work together.
All right. Well, I think, one of the, if you mentioned Binance, and this is definitely the next step, right? Like 3 steps. But what's the plan, if you guys thought of this, on how to onboard these Binance folk to decentralized exchanges or more specifically Hyperliquid, right? Like, what's kind of the strategy? I know in the news people see FTX collapse and they think the whole crypto is a scam, right? Or people trading on Binance, they're comfortable. They don't really, they think CZ. I think we all think CZ knows what he's doing, or we hope that he knows what he's doing. So people are comfortable, right? So there isn't that incentive to move from a platform like Binance that works pretty well to any of the dexes where you kind of have to do wallet management and it's just approving transactions. It's kind of annoying, right? Like you know what I'm talking about. So is there like a general strategy for this?
Yeah, I think Julian kind of alluded to this. I think one of our core features that we built out really early is on the UI side to not have to approve every single transaction you send. So it's still decentralized in that like you have to approve the initial connection you make, and it's kind of persists as long as you want it to. But people have the option for the seamless experience from the UI. So I think that part, like that part is for our platform at least solved. So you can kind of, if you wanted to make 100 trades in rapid succession, like buy sell, like put your TPSLs, close the positions, like all these things are kind of seamless one click actions and kind of as fast as you can click is how fast you can place them. So I think that is like the number one sticking point for basically everyone we talk to who still trades on like whether it's Binance or another centralized platform. And so hopefully solving that the friction is lower to convert users. But I think at the end of the day, it's like people kind of have to realize, they kind of have to like realize on their own that it's just so much better when you have control over your own money. Like sort of freedom is better. And like FTX, the whole FTX debacle, I think the silver lining is like people concretely can see like what happens when you don't, and hopefully like that kind of speaks for itself. But I think broadly speaking, like we're building with the anticipation that like the sort of the improvement that crypto as a whole, like DeFi as a whole, offers is just becomes more and more obvious to people as time goes on, and we just want to be there like ready with like when you move from Binance to us, it's like it's not like it's not like you have to like sacrifice something for this decentralized experience. Like you get the self custody, but other than that, like all the features you know and love are still there.
Nice. Sounds good. Are you okay if we take a few questions from the audience, Jeff, or let me know if we're running a little long here because it's been 60 minutes.
I'm good to stay on. Yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so I'll open it up to the audience if there are any questions for Hyperliquid and Jeff. Xuli, if you have any questions too, you can ask them right now. There's no issues. And
I feel like I talked to Jeff a lot, so my questions are I guess I'll just bring it back to like what I had planned. I don't know, Jeff, putting you on the spot, but like, what do you think about like integrating with NFTs? I mean, we've already been collabing with like Rekt Gang, but like more integration, DeFi NFTs. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I'm definitely an NFT noob. Like, uh, I'm just not as plugged into the space. I do think the wolf that they're giving away today, or auction, or sorry, raffling off, is quite aesthetically cool. Like, I think you guys have come a long way from CryptoPunks. So I will say it's quite cool, and the owner of that wolf, I'm sure, will be very proud. But yeah, as for NFTs, like I don't know. Do you have like a specific question, or just kind of like broadly how to
I
integrate?
don't
I
know
guess
if
like NFTs are so
Zuli is
broad, right?
fishing for an airdrop or is he's fishing for some sort of discount if you hold
No,
a
no,
certain
that's
NFT.
that's
I'm
you,
not too
Surfer.
sure.
No, I'm saying like so I guess integration with NFTs are you see stuff like Gains or even GMX, they have like those direct partner NFTs that get whether it's like trading discounts or like referral bonuses, like if you're actually looking to integrate NFTs to be a part of the Hyperliquid experience, or are you trying to keep that independent and kind of like a more pure DEX situation?
So far, we haven't thought much about this. So that's basically my answer. Like maybe we should think more about this NFT stuff. But so far, the plan has been pretty pure DeFi. Like we haven't even really been thinking about tokenomics too much. Like while we know that will be super important and the referrals, and all the like sort of network effect there is really important. Like to us, that's like the step before mainnet. And right now, it's like building up the core features of the platform, uh, which is like how do we build something that people actually want to use? And yeah, so I guess NFTs didn't play too big of a role in the core functionality, but maybe we can integrate something. Yeah, I think like I think I saw like DYDX had these like hedgies or something, and I think something like that to kind of like add some fun and spice to the community could be cool.
Yeah, so you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. Yeah, never say never.
But yeah, you do have the hedgies. It's kind of fun. I'll ask, while we're talking about NFTs, I won't be fishing for an airdrop like Zulian, but I will be asking, you know, um, a lot of people would love to short NFT market as a whole, right? And I know there's a platform that does do this, Perps platform, and or long. I would long it because it's been doing really well recently, and I would have made some money. So, is there any kind of idea? Again, probably not. But what are your thoughts on having some sort of synthetic uh, NFT market cap that could be tradable on Hyperliquid?
Yeah, so we're pretty agnostic to um, what specifically gets traded. Like we just want to be as general and broad of a platform as possible. So right now it's kind of the blue chips, right? It's a test net, so it's we're just kind of trying to demonstrate the functionality. But I think when it comes to like actually trading, it's hopefully it can be community governed, kind of set of assets that like there's actual interest in trading. So yeah, I think NFTs are like totally reasonable. It's you need kind of like you can't really short it like one specific NFT, I guess. Like that doesn't really make sense. But yeah, some like you said, some sort of index. Like I know there's like an index,
Yeah,
like a punk
it's an
floor
index of
price.
like the
Yeah,
top 20 or 10 collections, and they have like deep liquidity, right? Like they're,
yeah,
that's like a 500 million market cap almost if you count them all in.
yep, yeah, exactly. And so if basically we all we need is an oracle, and then people willing to trade and provide liquidity around the oracle price. So um, as long as that's out there, so yeah, with sufficient liquidity, like you said, I think that sort of like blue chip NFT index would totally satisfy all those criteria. And then yeah, I mean it's just a matter of kind of some simple governance approval. Like I think the validators and the community need to all kind of agree on what the index is, and then once that happens, you could totally go short or max long these NFT indices on Hyperliquid.
Nice. I love it. All right. We got two people that have questions. So we'll get to Liquid Spirit. Go ahead. I think you made a typo in your name. You're missing the I in front.
Yeah, I'm not illiquid on Twitter, just on the Rekt Gang. Yeah. Okay. So my question is just a very common question I see in DeFi platforms. Will the platform be audited before the launch?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, definitely. I think for now it's like we're building so much and the code is changing so much day to day. It wouldn't make sense to get an audit too early because, well, if all the code changes, you just need to get to audit again. But certainly before like large scale real money usage, we'd want to get it audited by as many different like sort of people with different expertise, right? Like maybe some people really understand exchanges and order books, and some people really understand like building blockchain infrastructure and et cetera. So we would hopefully get like different perspectives and all kind of audit it from the core node code up to the exchange code. When you're handling real money, you're kind of like not messing around at that point.
Thanks, Liquid.
All right, cool. Yeah.
PBR? Oh, did you have another question?
No.
Okay. PBR, go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing? You talked about, I don't know, I'm not a super technical guy, but you talked about being able to deposit into like vaults basically, and someone else is going to be doing our trading for us. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's one example. Another example is like it could be like an automated vault, but so either somebody or some strategy.
So who's in charge of that vault? Is it like, somebody that knows their shit, like Xulian up here, or is it just, whatever, like me running it?
it it would be, it's permissionless, so it's not like we're selecting people to run the vaults. It's like anybody can kind of build their own track record, and either maybe they have a track record outside already and it's really easy, but maybe they need to like trade on Hyperliquid themselves and then say like, hey guys, like look at my history, it's all out there, like it's like I do so well, like I make money every day on every trade, like I don't lose. Then like then you can start your own vault. So basically like, anybody can do it, and it's people can join whoever they want.
Right on, that makes sense. I always hear about people, following wallets, following money, making moves when other people make. I don't get into all that stuff, so that definitely makes sense. And then, will the creator of the vault, will they earn a percentage of people that join in with them? Is that how that's going to work?
Yeah, we're still trying to iron out the specific details here, but basically like a P&L share kind of setup is probably what we're gonna do, and kind of like trying to figure out if that should be kind of like standardized across all the vaults or kind of like dependent on the vault itself. And the exact mechanisms are still kind of up in the air, but yeah, the sort of like we're kind of going for this like more viral effect of like, if you have a vault and you're like really proud of it and you're earning your followers like a ton of money, like yeah, like you should. If this is like your full-time job, then yeah, you should be paid to do it. And I'm sure your followers are happy to if you're just making them money and they don't have to do anything, right? So like there's something, hopefully like a win-win setup that way.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense to me. I mean, I would expect to pay someone else to make me money. So by all means, I mean, that's cool. Thank you.
If they make money. If.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
Well, that's kind of the thing here. The idea is to have like very transparent vaults, so you can actually just view people and kind of see like their P&L or profit and loss. So you can see, oh, this guy has made 20% in the past week, or this guy has lost 5% or whatever. So you can kind of keep up with their track record and choose who to follow. Yeah, working on like how you manage that risk on like the person running the vault also having some skin in the game, or like just a 17-year-old not being able to get a vault and then getting like 3 million deposited and then like 50xing like, I don't know, bonk or something. So there's a lot of
that would have paid out.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it kind of being like, like a validator, their self-delegation. We would be able to see what kind of money they have in their vault, themselves, and then work off of that, though. But yeah, that all makes sense. It sounds super cool. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Thanks. We got Joseph from Swift Protocol. Go ahead, Joseph.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm really interested by what's going on here, and I just have a few questions that I hope you'll be able to answer. First question, really just like sounding. is the stuff you're building open source? Is part of it open source, or is it completely closed source?
That's a good question. And we're definitely planning on open sourcing. Currently, it's closed source just because it's like one is changing so rapidly, and two, it's like it's not audited. It's all kind of like very testnet driven. So for now, it's under rapid development.
All right, that's great to hear. I mean, my my thoughts on this mainly are just like obviously things get built and they get built fast, and in those situations it doesn't really make sense to be open source. But if you guys are planning to eventually open source some of the stuff, I'd love to see it. Yeah, it would be really cool.
Awesome.
Second question. So there's been like in the past in Cosmos, a lot of people promising order books, right? So order books have been like floated by tens of different projects, Osmosis and all of these other DEXs and AMMs. How are you guys setting yourselves apart from the competition?
Yeah, I think it's not a new idea. In fact, it's like one of the oldest ideas in finance. So I think it is hard to execute on just like building the platform, and then it's hard to execute on like the user experience, like interfacing with it in a seamless way. That's what like our kind of almost month-long competition was about, and we learned a lot there. And then thirdly, it's like it is hard to kind of bootstrap the liquidity around it. And I guess for kind of fully on-chain order books, there's like another step of like integrating it with within the limitations of the blockchain itself. So like a big point there is like throughput and latency. So I think it's I don't actually know specifically what happens to all these projects. Like maybe they're all still building it and chugging along just like we are. Or maybe some people kind of were washed out by the bear market or something. We don't focus too much on the competitors, like exactly what they're doing, but we do think it's like the ultimate solution, and we're kind of glad that like a lot of people agree with us. Like it's very validating to us, and the fact that like a good fully on-chain decentralized order book solution doesn't exist yet, I think it's just testament to like how kind of hard of a design problem it is. Like you got to check every single box that I mentioned there, otherwise your platform's not going to function.
Awesome. And one last question about leverage. So the way traditional trading platforms have handled leverage is through credits, right? So if I have a really good credit score and I have a really high net worth, they'll allow me to take on more and more leverage. I'm assuming that in this situation, because it's a 100% on-chain solution, leverage will probably be determined by collateral. How are you guys handling that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think a lot of protocols got burned by the under-collateralized loans that ended up not getting paid back. So we're not really interested in that problem space too much. It's fully collateralized, like you said. And so it's kind of how a lot of leverage exchanges handle it. So there'll be, you deposit some collateral, then you can adjust your leverage, whether that's per coin, like the per specific contract you're trading, or for your portfolio as a whole. These are all options on Hyperliquid. But in any case, you kind of lever up your collateral. Like for concreteness, let's say you put $100 in, then you want to buy like $200 worth of ETH, then you're beyond like 2x leverage there. And so you can just enter the position, and the platform will just let you as long as within your leverage limits. But then once you enter the position, you have this maintenance margin requirement, which is saying like if your account value, which is your collateral, then plus any unrealized P&L you have, drops below some fraction, then you enter this like liquidatable state.
All right, and then your stuff gets liquidated.
Exactly. And so like the difference between us though and like somewhere like Binance is like on Binance, the exchange just does something sketchy, or maybe not sketchy, maybe reasonable, and then your money's gone. But in this case, it's like fully transparent. So anybody can come in and kind of like take over, assume the risk, but also the like remaining buffer that you have on your account.
That's awesome. You know what I'm thinking right now is someone might build an app, kind of like Hubble on Stargaze, where you can see a feed of live liquidations with addresses and maybe ICNS or Stargaze names. follow people
totally.
Getting liquidated.
yeah, I think that'd be really cool, and it really is all there. So like we have on our site, we have like a bare bones like Explorer. You can kind of see the blocks and transactions streaming in like a little bit too fast, but I guess like a live demonstration of the blockchain. And so like somebody could take that info and then just kind of filter it by liquidations, and then you'd have a liquidation feed.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, that was pretty much all I wanted to ask. And well, thank you guys, and good luck. I'll be keeping up
Thank
on
you.
what you guys are doing because this is really cool. You're the first to do it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joseph. Thanks for your question. V, we mentioned earlier, you weren't there, that you would be the perfect candidate for the counter trading pool. Or I guess what Joseph just mentioned, looking at your liquidations on Hubble. So, V, what's your question?
Hi, Jeff. Firstly, my question was actually what Joseph already covered. He already asked, is it open source or closed source? So that's pretty much covered already. In terms of me being counter trading against me, you guys would have actually made a lot of money if you listened to me and you guys sold Kuji. If you sold the Utes and bought Bonk, could have made a lot of money for the DAO.
That's true. And shorted sold at like, I think you've been calling it
30,
for
30,
about a year now.
yeah, I've been calling it for a while. But yeah, we should have shorted Kuji too. But no, Joseph stole my question. As soon as I saw the bad kid and someone from Cosmos coming, I was like, oh fuck, he's gonna steal my question. He's gonna definitely ask him about open source or closed source. Is Hyperliquid gonna be in the Cosmos or is it on ETH?
You missed the AMA, but they're going to have Hyperliquid Chain, which is built on Tendermint. Yeah.
Is it going to be IBC enabled?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good question.
Yes, that is in the works. So currently it's not. Currently it's just standalone Tendermint. But in order to integrate with different bridging solutions, I think we'll have to kind of enable IBC. So
I mean,
it's on the
honestly,
road.
that would be awesome, right? In that situation, you'd be able to trade pretty much any Cosmos asset over IBC. It would definitely be easier than having to bridge them over to your specific kind of like chain space.
Yeah, I think IBC is super cool, and I think if like everyone were on different Cosmos chains, I think you wouldn't even need a bridge, right? But I think like our goal is really like, you know, even if you're on Solana or Ethereum, that you can still, or like Avalanche or any of the like L2s, like you could all kind of like use Hyperliquid without figuring out, oh, like how do I install Kepler and like use that. So kind of like really reaching as broad of an audience as possible.
I mean, there could be a dual
Um,
integration, right? You could have support for IBC assets as well as bridged assets from Ethereum or Solana.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there can totally be multiple solutions. So yeah, maybe we'll start with IBC only and then bridge out from there. I heard that USDC is also moving on to Cosmos like relatively soon too. So if they had that, then I think we could totally just start there.
And another question actually came to my mind, if you don't mind. What assets will you be able to deposit as collateral? Will you be able to deposit assets that don't have that aren't stable coins?
We were pretty excited about this initially, but I think this was one of the big downfalls of FTX and certainly the Mango Markets hack. So we've kind of like postponed that stuff for a little bit as we kind of see how the various things play out. I think it's tough to have like too broad of a collateral base. I think like BTC and ETH, I think are like totally fine as assets, but also like probably not what the vast majority of people want to use as collateral. Like if somebody's asking about crazy collateral, like they probably have their favorite coin that they want to deposit. And so, you know, once you support one of them, you got to support all of them. And then you open yourself up to all these different risk factors.
Yeah.
So currently it's just USDC. But maybe one day maybe if like a good platform exists out there that like they provide the building block to collateralize your assets and then lend out USDC, then you can use that on Hyperliquid. And so we can focus on the DEX part and not the lending part.
Yeah, obviously, it's just my thought would be that if you're going to integrate with, let's say, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the Cosmos ecosystem as a whole, you might maybe want to look into having a singular asset from every ecosystem be supported as collateral. So obviously, you'd have ETH, BTC. If you were to integrate with Solana, maybe use Solana as collateral, or with the Cosmos ecosystem, something like Osmo or Atom. I mean, in that situation, also, you might as well just only use stables as collateral. So I think there's a lot of options for you guys to choose from, and you might make some people mad by choosing very specific options. So good luck.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yes, so I think nobody's going to be too mad if we just say, "Hey guys, it's USDC only for now," and you can always borrow USDC from Aave or something and not sell your coins. So hopefully that's enough to get us started.
Yeah,
A lot
just
of
to
people are going to
clarify a
be
little more,
double
Joseph.
leveraged.
Yeah, Joseph, it's it's all perps as well. So you're not actually trading native assets. It's perp contracts. So you don't actually have to bridge like all these obscure tokens to actually trade them, which makes it easier. You just need good oracles to actually get the price feeds. And then with like adding multi-collaterals, a lot of things to consider is that when you're liquidating people, like often the degens that are trading against like Chihuahua or like Doge as collateral are the ones that get liquidated. And the issue is that you end up with a lot of bad debt when you liquidate, or you have to liquidate people that have these weird tokens, but no one actually wants to buy those tokens as collateral. So that's why like adding multiple collateral types is like a very tricky issue.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I agree with you on that one. But I guess we'll see what happens and what ends up being a relatively okay solution for collateral in the future.
Yeah, good questions all around. Jeff, I think we kept people here for 90 minutes. Let's run the Trippy giveaway, and then we can ask more questions or continue the spaces if people want to keep chatting. So usually how this works is you just pick a random number, and then I'll kind of scroll through on what number that is on my kind of Twitter thing here.
All right. Wow, that's a big responsibility. Let's see.
There's 40 people, so you can do like random Twitter picker out of 40, or random number generator out of 40. Sorry.
I'll be a random number generator. Today's number is number 28.
Oh, 28. You're making me work. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll just Zilly, if you can cover the silence while I'm counting.
You gotta scroll to 28. It's all good. We need to add that like what's it called? The game show music as you're counting down to that number. See who gets to win the trippy. There you go. Yeah, I guess we covered a lot today, a lot of different questions. Thanks everyone for joining. Do check out the Discord. We're gonna be running like some smaller events in the testnet to have people try out different parts of it. So definitely join the Discord so you can kind of keep up with all that. Try out the testnet. You can get like $1,000 on fake money, testnet money. So if you want to just get liquidated in a day, it's actually surprisingly hard to get liquidated right now because there's no volatility. Like I tried to get liquidated and it took like 4 days. But if anyone wants to try to get liquidated, I know you guys are experts. So that'd be really cool.
Okay, I got a winner. It took a while. I took a few pictures too, so people don't think it's a scam. And it's already somebody's using a Trippy Wolf PFP, so I guess they more wealth to them. So Osmansky, congratulations! You won the Trippy Wolf. You were number 28 on my Twitter space thing.
Congratulations, Osmansky.
Well played. Well played.
Well done. Always be number 28.
Yeah, that was a good number, I think, because it really made me work. But yeah, thank you. Are there? I see. I think a few people that were on the audience. Yeah. So I'm not sure there are any more questions. Like I said, in 90 minutes, I think we had a great spaces. Learned a lot about Hyperliquid. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Thank you, Jeff, for the Trippy Wolf giveaway. It's coming from his pocket, so Osmansky, you can thank him. Don't thank us. And I think he picked something really, really cool as well. So that's awesome. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about all the developments that are going to come out. the round table that Xuli is organizing next week. That'll be super interesting. I'm going to plug that in. And yeah, good luck to y'all. I think a lot of people are excited about the project, and it's going to be a lot about the delivery at the end of the line. So yeah, good luck. Going to be fun.
Thanks again, Alex. It was really nice speaking to you and to everyone else.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. This is recorded, by the way. So, Jeff, if you want to share that, go ahead. People can listen to the recording. I think we kept it really professional throughout, so it's kind of a good a good starting point to learn about your guys' platform. Thanks again, everyone. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.